We got to get these kids off the street. We got to make sure they got nutrition. We've got to make sure they've got good medical care.
Hi there, it's Georgina Sandoval from Voice Waves. I'm here with Delane Eastin, gubernatorial candidate. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Georgina. How are you?
Pretty good, thank you. So I'm going to be asking you a couple of questions. The first one is, so 1 in 10 California State University students have said that they've been homeless at least once this past year. So there's a lot of like home insecurity and food insecurity. What do you plan on doing to make sure that basic needs are met for these college students?
Well, you should know when I went to UC Davis, it was $82.50 a semester. It was essentially fees for things like health insurance. So that included my health insurance. The dramatic increase in tuition is one of the things that's pushing people out on the streets. I live in Davis now, so I live in a college town, and I know that 10% of our students are couch surfing or are homeless. So what we have to do is lower the tuition costs. I want to see tuition-free colleges and universities in California again, so that people can focus on their education. The theory when I was growing up was if you got a great education, you'd get a better job and you'd pay more taxes. So the state would win either way. But my belief right now is we don't have enough people that have the skills and have the training that college gives you. So we not only should lower the tuition, we should be building more college campuses. Because last year we turned a lot of students away who wanted to go to college but could not because there wasn't a chair for them.
How do you see that being funded?
I think the big thing to do is make a fundamental change in Proposition 13 so that we get more money into education generally. One of the things that has to change, though, in Sacramento, we used to spend 18% of the state budget on higher education, 3% on prisons. Higher ed is now down below 12%. Prisons are above 9%. So we need to reduce the prison expenditures and increase the higher ed expenditures. We also, though, need to spend more on K-12, and that's why I'm talking about changing Prop 13. Commercial and industrial properties used to be homeowners were 52% of property tax. Now, the idea of 13 was to give homeowners relief, but now homeowners are 72%. It's the businesses that don't ever get reassessed that it really and truly are depriving our schools of the money they need. That fundamental change would inject a lot of additional resources. And it would be better for a young person like yourself. Suppose you wanted to open a restaurant across the street from somebody who's been in business for 30 years. Your property tax might be 15 or 20 times what that person's are. Makes you at a really competitive disadvantage. So we need to make it more even for people in business. They all need to pay a little more, and we need to focus that money on education.
You were the architect of Net Day back in 1996, and since then, California is on the bottom 10 states of per pupil funding for education. How do you propose to make sure that kids are getting adequate access to tech?
Well, we have to have a commitment that every child in California has access to broadband. I don't care if you live in a rural, remote part of the state or whether you live in an inner city, whether you're in the suburbs or whether you're on the seashore. Everybody ought to be getting access to technology. It's the new basic requirement. It's like electricity. We wouldn't think of not giving electricity to a school. Why would we not give kids access to technology? So when I did Net Day, at that time the governor was Pete Wilson. He made fun of me. He said, "What are you going to get? 500 people out?" Well, I got 20,000 people out. President Clinton, Vice President Gore came. They brought the whole cabinet. Al Gore said to me, "You know, if California, the home of the Silicon Valley, isn't wired, then neither is Mississippi or Maine or Massachusetts. We need to wire the whole country." And he went back and proposed the E-rate. And I was invited to the White House. I had my picture in the New York Times seated between Al Gore and Bill Clinton because he was inspired to propose the E-rate because of California. Where there's a will, there's a way. But when people forget that they made fun of Roosevelt when he called for rural electrification, oh, that's going to be so hard, it's going to be so expensive. Well, of course you should have electricity if you're in a rural part of the state. So too should our students have broadband, and it ought to be modern, up-to-date, the best that we can do.
So this was Georgina from Voice Waves. Thank you, Ms. Eastin, for your time.